Hi, I'm Rachael with Carefree Crafting. I'm going to show you how to make a sewn ear saver today. Last week Lissa did a video on crocheted ear savers, and to be honest, the crocheted ones are, in my opinion, a bit more comfortable because there's some stretch to it. But not everyone has a friend that crochets. Not everyone can get the cotton yarn right now. They don't really work with acrylic. We haven't tried them with wool. So to make the ear savers, you'll need some kind of snips, you'll need thread, you'll need a hand sewing needle. I use a matchstick as a spacer for the buttons. I'll show you that. You can use a safety pin or several straight pins. You'll need a hand sewing needle. A marking tool is optional, but you will need something that's this shape. Whether you use a pencil or a pen or a chopstick, you'll need some kind of long thing to poke this through. So I'm going to use white fabric and black thread so that I can easier show you what I'm doing. You can use any combination you want. Whatever you do will be all right. Something good has to come out of everything, and I think this will show us that we're all connected and we're all the same, and notions of someone being better than another person are just silly. I want to say thank you to everyone for doing your part, whether you are making masks or making ear savers or cleaning up trash or teaching children online or still going to the hospital, nursing home, gas station, grocery store that you would normally work at, or if you're just sitting at home and enduring the loneliness. Thank you. It's going to take all of us to pull through this. Let's make some ear savers. It measures 2.5 by 7.5 inches. If you're outside the US and inches aren't your first language, this is about 6 by 18 centimeters. Otherwise, about 2.5 by 7.5 inches. You might make it a bit longer, or you might need it a bit shorter. I've got this little short one here. It is best to leave your children at home. It's not always possible. They may need to go to the doctor. You may have no choice but to take them to the grocery store with you, and a little short ear saver like this, or maybe even shorter depending on how big your child is, can pull an adult mask in enough that it will fit a child. However, don't put a mask on a baby. There's no way to make a mask safe for an infant. So this is just a plain white fabric. There's really no right or wrong side to it. But if there was, the first step is to fold this in half. And we want to fold it with the wrong side out. And then we're going to sew a seam here on the short end, and then down the long end, leave the other short end open. So now we have this piece. It's sewn shut on one side and down the long side, but this end is still open. Now we have to turn it right. If you have a right side to your fabric, I've been using solids and batiks, so I really don't. It's kind of fiddly to get it to turn around, and your stitches may pop. That's okay. And then you just use the eraser end of your pencil to just kind of stuff that in there and help turn it right side out. The first one of these you do, it's tedious, and then they get better and better, and you get faster at it, unless you're of course trying to do it on camera. Then it's slow and awkward. Then if you have a corner that won't quite pop out, you can take a straight pin or your needle and just pull that corner out. So now we have a tube. One end is still open with raw edges. You can press this if you want. I find that just running my hands on it is sufficient. It's cotton fabric, so it holds a crease pretty nice. Then you'll want to tuck the other end in. You're aiming for 1/4 inch. It doesn't have to be exact. If it's a 1/2 inch, fine. If it's 1/8 of an inch, fine. Just so that you get all of the raw edges in there. So now it looks like this. We're going to start at one of the corners on the side that's open, and we're going to top stitch all the way around. And remember to back tack at the start and finish. My first language is quilting, so I don't often back tack. Everything I sew is going to be encased by 3 more seams. You have to remember to back tack because these will be washed and dried a lot, and they'll be subjected to a lot of hard wear. So now it looks like this, and it's ready for buttons. You can mark where you want your button. This is optional. You could just eyeball it. It's totally up to you. If it pleases you, it pleases everyone. So for the button, you'll want to take your hand needle from the back of your fabric to the front of your mark, if you made a mark. Then look at your button and see if there is an obvious front and back. On this one there is. So I'll take the needle from the back of the button through one of the holes, and then from the front of the button through the other hole. And then through my mark to the back of the fabric. Shorten your thread, but don't quite pull this tight. Now you're going to take this matchstick and put it there in between the threads, then pull it tight. And now you can use this matchstick to hold this floppy piece of fabric. It makes it a lot easier. It looks like that from behind. You'll just sew around the matchstick and through the buttonholes, through the holes in the button. There is no buttonhole, sorry. Around the matchstick and through the hole in the button until you have 4 or 5 strands of thread going across that button. Then you'll come from the back of your fabric to the front of your fabric, but not through the buttonhole. And you'll pull out this matchstick. Wind your thread around your button 10 times. I've lost count. I don't know if that's 10 or 14 or 9, but it'll work. 10 is best. That's what you're aiming for. Bring the needle back to the back of the fabric. And it's okay if it looks bad back there. This isn't high fashion. We're not making a bespoke suit or anything like that. And then just make several stitches, one on top of another, and that will secure your thread. And now you can clip your thread. Now what that does is it makes the button secure, but it makes it a little bit loose so that you have room to get the elastic under the button. Otherwise these can be a bit hard to put on. And there's an ear saver, and there's a whole bunch more. These go very fast and they're very easy to bulk sew. Thank you again to everybody who's making masks or making ear savers or doing anything at all to slow the spread or cheer someone up or make this in any way better for anybody. If you liked this video, please like, share, and subscribe.